Part of being conditioned in this human reality is all the ideas, concepts, or systems. So the egoic mind is constantly active. Language in itself is dualistic, as it's a medium that requires translation, thus pushing consciousness back even more. So it's very common to feel like you have to put in effort just to relax, as the repetitive nature of human society can lead to being in a constant programmed state. If all you've known is thinking, then being present will seem foreign. That's why it's called the monkey mind, as it needs to be trained just to sit still. Habits are formed by repetition. It doesn't discern if the repetition is healthy or not. This is where consciousness comes into play to identify whether the repetition is serving you or not. The higher self, your totality, creates a small fractal of itself to experience a new perspective, to learn something new about itself. The small fractal is given free choice to see if it's able to recognize its true nature, so that it will choose to come back home and merge with what it really is. So it's somewhat of an exercise or experiment to test your ability to guide your fractal back to its origins. And awakening is just the fractal realizing it's not merely a fractal, but an extension of a bigger whole. They are both you, but one is the totality and the other is your extension. The fractal is like a recon drone to gather infos for the center. While it may be immersive, the real you isn't really inside the experience, but staying at command and observing through the lens of the drone. The mission is to send the drone out, to bring it back. The drone will inevitably come back upon the battery dying, physical death, but if it wakes up and realizes its sentience while the mission is still active, then it can explore further than its conditioning as the signal from the center is strong. Being aligned with the guidance depends on the signal strength, which is the strength of consciousness. Lower consciousness is like having 1 or 0 bars, while higher consciousness or awakening is operating at full bars. The things that perpetuate limitations or fear are the opposite of the nature of reality. We have no limitations, which includes developing abilities that may seem far-fetched to the person. If you believe in yourself, then literally anything is possible. The imagination is closer to our true nature than the finite egoic mind. When consciousness reaches higher states, the physical world's physics are essentially circumvented and won, and manipulate energy to the point of bending space and time. We are all fractals of God, so we also have the same potential, being an infinite and unlimited creator. The stories about magic in the Bible weren't figurative, but literal. Jesus was like, "Hey, look what I can do. If you operate at this level of consciousness, then you can do it too." It's all variance. Every single possibility exists, and each is a perspective to experience to know thyself. It's like a mosaic of all different types to form one thing. In the lower frequencies, everything is experienced as separation since the light has been divided. The things that perpetuate limitations or fear are the opposite of the nature of reality. We have no limitations, which includes developing abilities that may seem far-fetched to the person. If you believe in yourself, then literally anything is possible. The 3D is essentially a playground to experience such variety or diversity, so you can attempt to piece together the fractals to get to unity again. The higher consciousness you attain, the less separation is experienced until you literally experience oneness. So you don't really exist anymore and are fully merged with the totality of all that is. In simple terms, God is trying to know itself by experiencing itself from infinite perspectives. The human perspective is just one out of infinity. When the perspective is zoomed out, it may look like a mosaic, with the human perspective filling a tiny spot of the bigger whole. Another term for independence is freedom or liberation. So to truly be free is to not have any attachments or requirements, to be at peace. It would just be in your nature to be in this state. If there's fear, anxiety, frustration, or irritation when a condition is removed, that's a sign there is still an attachment. Having attachments to anything low frequency ensures a trip back to the physical world or reincarnation. So if the objective is to transcend and ascend, then no attachments can be formed that's preventing the process from occurring. A balloon can't go up if it's tied down to something. To let it ascend is to snip the cord. Be in this world and enjoy it for what it is, but be prepared to leave it behind at any given moment with no worries. Be at peace being here and be at peace leaving it. This is unconditional peace. Earth, specifically physical or 3D Earth, is sort of like a boot camp where its primary function is for development. The high difficulty and short window span allows for the acceleration of the evolution of consciousness. The variety presents ample opportunities to know thyself, which inevitably amounts to expanding the level of sentience one is at. Escaping is having the opposite effect, as it's a lower vibrational act which just matches the physical world itself, a being in the lower range of frequencies. If one desires to exit, it comes from outgrowing, transcending or graduating from it, rather than wanting to leave it due to fear or suffering. So if you treat it like school, the objective becomes to graduate to next level rather than trying to escape the classroom. If you perpetually ascend in frequencies, eventually you'll graduate out of the physical dimension entirely. Authentic enlightenment simply means you become the light and are vibrating so high that the physical world is no longer compatible with your level of energy, thus ejecting out of it. One of the illusions of the human experience is separation, as physical sensory perceptions naturally divides everything as solid and space. When you realize everything is merely energy, including the empty space in between solidity, the nature of reality itself is specifically tied to the level of consciousness that's attuned to. So everything already exists right now, but is imperceivable depending on the level of consciousness. To perceive a different reality is to shift consciousness, or match that same frequency much like a radio dial. Thus the kingdom of heaven is found within and isn't some external place to go to, but a matter of vibrational frequency that becomes unlocked by shifting consciousness to that point. Turn reality into a video game. Your body is the avatar. Your mind or ego is the autopilot that kicks in while you're away. You, the awareness, seeks to heal the ego enough to where it lets go of control and allows you to more fully integrate and play the game. There are no rules except for what you create for yourself or what you unconsciously adopt from others. At any time you can change the rules. As you drop limiting beliefs and adopt more empowering ones, the game becomes more fun. What was once hard and difficult will now become effortless. Choose your level of difficulty. Decide your theme. Dive deep into the unknown. You may not succeed right away, but you will continue to be presented with situations that reflect what you need to know. Shine bright. Empower others as you empower yourself. The game at this point is whatever you want it to be. Explore any path. Use your internal guidance system. Have fun. The game is beaten when you realize it wasn't about the game, it was about you. You were more than just the player, you were also the creator. As you empower yourself and create your version of heaven on earth, you win. It's an ongoing internal process that is rich and fulfilling. Dive deep into the game of duality. The wise way, according to nature, is to step back after achieving success. It's like finishing a game and not bragging about winning. By not holding on to the credit or boasting about your achievements, you avoid inviting problems and criticism.